Hello, Rooted MKE family. It's great to be back with you guys. We are here today with author and muralist and community gatherer Tia Richardson, and we're here to talk about her newest title and to get ready for our upcoming author series where Tia will be coming into Rooted MKE and reading her book, signing copies of the book, and leading an art activity with youth. So I have been following your work even before the book came out, and for a long time you've been creating murals and collaborating community in your work with creating murals. Can you share some of that with us?
Yes, so I've been doing a lot of murals in the city, Milwaukee, working with different schools, different audiences, young people, children, all the way through adults and seniors. So I'm really happy just to be able to be a part of my community and offer people that chance to contribute and participate as part of something bigger than themselves. And art is a great avenue to express that.
So we're not talking about someone commissioning you and saying, this is what I want to see in this community for these people. It's a whole process of meeting, bringing together community stakeholders, people who live in the community. Everybody has a voice and there's conversation about what the art is going to be, and everyone has an opportunity to contribute to the art. So as much as it's yours, it's theirs too.
That's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, and I'm learning as I go, and it is a journey, very much so. I don't know what the end result will be. So every project has its own journey, and I invite people to come with me on that. And I'm just trying to really honor that process of collaboration from my perspective, that we do all have something of equal value to contribute to the larger whole to make it better. From my experience, there aren't a lot of opportunities for people to do that, to participate.
Right.
And so creating those opportunities, creating equitable spaces for people to share. We don't always feel that we can do art. A lot of people come up and say, well, I can't paint, or I'm not an artist. And you don't have to be a part of this process. Every human mind is creative by nature. That's what I believe. And I've seen that. We can look at kids.
Yeah.
Every single kid loves to do art. Well, we all have a kid in us. That doesn't go away. Maybe with life's struggles, I think it more gets buried than anything, than it was never there. And so these are just chances to sort of encourage and support people to tap into themselves, their own nature as human beings, and bring something forward that we all have.
So how has your journey taken you from being an artist, creating murals, to writing a children's book?
The children's book came from out of a residency that I did. So, I did bookmaking at one time. And since I was little, and I've showed some of these to some of the classes I've worked with, I used to make books.
Really?
Yes. When I was little, I loved to write. Third grade, third grade on, I used to draw pictures and then write the story to them. And I got a book out the library once on how to make a book. And I followed the steps, and I cut cardboard out for the book binding and used construction paper. And I did this for a while, for some years, and I still have them. So I brought some of them to the classrooms we were doing bookmaking residencies in, and there's a literacy portion to it too. So I'm working with the teachers on what they want to see. So we've done some anti-bullying story templates, social emotional self-esteem, things like that. And so there's a template that I write. It's fill in the blanks. As we go on this journey, now you get to be the character and make these choices and encounter these things along the way till we get to the end of the story, and it's gonna, take us through these themes. And we're gonna create the cover for the book and do the illustrations, and I take them page by page. So this book, Caring All Around Me, was a story that I created for youth in the foster system, for an organization that works with youth in the foster system called Milwaukee Center for Children and Youth. Really saw the impact it had on the youth who were a part of that program. I think it was ages 8 to 14 or 8 to 18. So we had two different groups, one young, one old. The Pride, they have their book. We took pictures, and seeing the success of that program, I was inspired a few weeks after the last one ended to just expand it into a children's book. So I added a character, Mara, and now it's her journey. And as we read the book, we encounter some of those same challenges that were in the original story template. And I created the workbook to expand on that and offer kids a chance to go back to that idea of how would they choose to handle these challenges, and even expanded on that. It's a step-by-step process, and that's important when we're growing up, kind of cause and effect, consequences of our actions, all that, idea.
To me, the book is just light. It radiates light and positive message and positive reminders of like how to pour into ourselves and kind of being gentle with how you handle yourself. And just like you were saying, we have a choice on how we handle things, how we internalize messages, what our response to things are going to be. So it was definitely a book of mindfulness and reflection and being just gentle and thoughtful with how you handle yourself for me.
Yeah, definitely. That gentleness, that's important, because, and this kind of goes along with, if we're trying to create something or do something or be something, if we're too hard on ourselves, well, and creatively speaking too, we shut down. Creative process shuts down. So try as we might, we're too flooded with stress chemicals really to do much, to be much constructive. So the idea is, this needs to be a constructive process. So we can have challenges. What are some ways that are constructive that we can help those? And so that gentleness you're talking about in that space, I feel is very important. So that's something that I feel we need in our society, if in order to help make things better. We need spaces, and art for me is that space for support, for understanding, space to just be in that process, whatever that is. Freedom. Freedom. If we have to do it a certain way, or we come in with that mindset of right or wrong, how we do things, we can't get to that creative place. And so it takes an open mind in order for us to move through these pages like that. So that's part of discovery. There needs to be a freedom there. Freedom is very supportive of that idea. So that's kind of the principle. Those are some of the principles I'm working off of, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how can I use this with the workbook if I'm working with a group of students or at home supporting my own son as we like read through the book and kind of like process how he is going to internalize the information? How can I pair it with the workbook?
So the workbook is it can be used with or without the story.
Okay.
There is one page in there that directly asks you to see if you can find some of the characters in the story. So I bring them all together on one page that some different characters Mara meets, and you can color those characters in. So it kind of then asks you to go look back through the book, because some of them are real tiny and you might miss them. So I thought that would be fun. Other ways is kind of talking about what's happening on the page. You also following the kids, taking the kids' lead, because they may respond to things that we don't think of, and just taking that further. So the workbook is kind of a set ideas to explore with children, but they may come up with others.
So the workbook, again, it can stand on its own as kind of like a support and reflection tool.
Definitely. Support and reflection, right. So how do we create a safe space for ourselves? What does that feel like? What does that look like? What does that even mean? What does it mean to feel safe? Draw your safe place.
Self-care?
Self-care comes up as a tool. What does that mean? These words are defined. So there's a definition table at the back of the book. Gratitude. So these are ways to these are ways to kind of work through challenges as they come up, journal, reflect on them, exercises and tools that can help us get our challenges out on paper, number one, list them, write them, and then decide what to do with them. So when we do that, when we color, when we draw, when we use paper as a tool to express ourselves, it can help us. It frees up space in our brain. It can help us feel better, calmer, more relaxed. It can be reassuring even. There's reflection tips for parents, caregivers, and therapists at the end. After each activity, we can ask these reflection questions. These are questions I've used with groups. So a lot of what's in here I've used before, and so I know it's worked from my experience, and I can kind of share that.
So we definitely look forward to having you in the store on December 10th. And I know that I've had a few families email me already, really excited to bring their kids in to share space with you and to get the opportunity to participate in the watercolor activity.
There's a watercolor activity.
Yes.
It's written out at the end of the book. So when you buy the book, you get that watercolor activity. But you can also come experience it two ways. There's the launch party where I'm releasing the book to the public on Friday, December 9th at Clara Healing Institute. And they offer psychotherapy, art therapy, mindfulness, and other things. And then on Saturday, I'll be here, Rooted MKE bookstore, and we'll do the book reading and the watercolor activity there too.
And then we know that we've got to be on time for that event because we're creating a space and setting the atmosphere. So we want everyone to be on the same page and have a clear understanding of what's happening and be able to engage fully without being rushed or not getting to enjoy the same space and opportunity as everyone else.
Right. Thank you.
So even after the event, the book as well as the workbook will be here at Rooted MKE. Is there anywhere else where people can find the book and the workbook?
Yes. You can order online, direct from the publisher, orangehatpublishing.com. You can also go to my website, and that links back to the publisher page. But there's additional content, background for both of these projects.
So we are so excited for all the things that you're doing in the community around the book and now the workbook, and we look forward to just following you along on the journey and supporting in whatever ways we can to make sure we're sharing your voice wide and loud.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Absolutely.